In banking, Wells Fargo is facing new lawsuits for setting up bogus accounts and moving customers' money around without their consent. This as we learn that the Wells Fargo executive who headed that unit left her post in July. She plans to retire at year's end, and when all is said and done, she could reportedly be walking away with $125 million or more in stock and other compensation. Let's talk to our legal panel. Heather Hansen is a trial attorney. Jonna Spilbore is a former prosecutor and criminal defense attorney. Heather, the bank claims that this woman who headed this unit that opened up 2 million fake or bogus accounts in people's names, that she had no idea this was going on. Is that an appropriate defense?
It's not, because you have to be able to manage these people that are working underneath you, and you have to know what's going on. Just like a pilot's responsible for the plane, a captain's responsible for their ship, these executives have to be held responsible for what's going on under their watch and under their control. I don't think that it should stand up. However, I do think that under the law, she is probably going to get that money. One
of the reasons that she's getting so much money as this golden parachute, Jonna, is that, her unit supposedly did so well during the time she was running it at Wells Fargo.
They did well because they were forging customer signatures and creating these accounts and getting fees they shouldn't have gotten. You know what, John? If I walk out of here today and I get a credit card under your name without your knowledge and your consent, you know where I'm going? To jail. So instead of her being able to retire to Boca, maybe the DOJ should be investigating, because for 5 years, 5,300 employees were allegedly involved in this, ripping off customers for 5 years. They have to pay a $185 million fine, and nobody's being criminally investigated? Come on.
John Stumpf, who is the CEO of Wells Fargo, said this about her, said that that Carrie Tolstead had been one of the bank's most important leaders and a standard bearer of their culture. So is that the kind of culture that Wells Fargo, wants to create? Heather?
And that's the problem, John. There is a culture that needs to be changed in these banking institutions. I know that Senator Warren and 3 other Democrats have called for a hearing on this. I think that the CEO needs to stand up and explain himself. The fact that these types of things goes on, not just at Wells Fargo, but apparently there have been these type of complaints against other banks. It's something that we cannot accept any longer. There were supposed to be provisions in place after the financial crisis in 2008. They have not come to bear to actually make a difference. Something has to change.
The bank, we reached out to the bank for comment, and they basically said that that this woman Carrie Tolstead had been retiring after a 27-year career, and that's all this is about. Now, it's my understanding, Jonna, that the bank could actually get some of this money back. There's a clawback procedure, it's called. But they don't want to do that. Why?
No, they don't. In my opinion, they don't want to do it because thus far Wells Fargo did not have to admit any wrongdoing. So instead, what they've said instead is, we apologize to our customers for receiving products that they did not request. We're not talking about toasters, Wells Fargo. We're talking about messing with people's credit, costing them money. Not to mention, you take somebody who's on a fixed income and you overdraw their bank account, even if it's just by a few dollars, they're worried about that, and rightfully so. Yeah. So Wells Fargo is getting off essentially scot-free if they're not going to investigate, and they don't even have to say we did anything wrong.
Unbelievable. There are class action lawsuits in the works. This story is going to be in the news for a while. We'll certainly keep an eye on it.